Okay, today chapter 13, going to church. This is both culturally relevant to Chaldeans because they're generally religious people. Again, the sort of thematic part of the chapter is just random. It's just an excuse to introduce some grammar. So going to church, the actual content of this is personal pronouns and the to be, what's called the static present tense verb. Let me remind you of something. This book, Introductory Chaldean, is just throwing some stuff out there that's useful. This is not a systematic going through the grammar. Once we're done with this book, sooner than you think actually, it's only 5 more weeks. After we're done with chapter 18, we are going to begin immediately with the blue book. I think I have a copy here. I don't, anyway. We're going to begin immediately with the blue book, Chaldean grammar, that one. Yeah, here. So it looks like this to people on the camera. So as soon as this book is done, we're going to go into this. We are not going to record these lessons because I already did a recording of all of these chapters on this book, and I wasn't rushed when I did them. So those recordings are pretty good. They're already up on the YouTube page. So, but for those of you who are here in person, when we're done doing the green book, then we'll just continue into the we'll continue into the blue book. Good? All right. That means when I go through something and like, oh, here's one version of the verb, here's just this tense, and you're like going to kind of be worried, oh wait, there's other tenses of the verb. There are. We're not going to get to them here. We'll get to them when we get to the blue book. Good? All right. Let me say one other thing. When you're studying a language, it is not the same as studying something like mathematics or geometry or logic, where there's one thing completely being built on another. There's a little bit of that going on. But when you're studying a language, don't feel like you have to have, I want to know what the adjective is, and I want to know everything about the adjective before I start anything about the verb. And then when I do the verb, I want to know everything about the verb. Eventually, you're going to get there. But when it comes to a language, repetition is actually more important. So if I give you a little bit of the verb here, and not all of it, and then we do some other stuff, and I give you a little bit more of the verb here, another part of the verb here, and then when we get to here's the entire verb chart, it'll be your third time seeing some of those forms. That's better than doing it all at once. Here, memorize it, and then if you don't memorize it now, you're gone. It's better to repeat over and over again, just like it's important to review. Good? All right. Personal pronouns in English are independent words like I and they. There's lots of pronouns in the news the last couple of years. In the same way, it's the same way in Chaldean. So this chapter is more a matter of memorizing these new words than of understanding a new concept. So when we said, my house was Bethi, you didn't just have to learn like a new word. You had to learn a whole new concept that to say something is mine, there's a little ending that you put on the noun. That's a whole different thing than it is in English. When it comes to these personal pronouns, it's just vocab. You're just learning the word for I is ana. So this is not like a crazy concept to learn. This is just vocab. A lot of the stuff in this chapter is going to be like that. So if you want to say, here are the subjective, meaning they are the subject of the verb, personal pronouns. I'm going to explain that in a second. Let's go through the chart. Starting on the right side of the page, as we do. If you want to say I, everyone repeat after me. Ana. Ana. If you want to say you, and you're speaking to a single male, you say ayit. Everyone say ayit. If you want to say you to a single female, you say ayat. Why is there yod there? The yod is there to make you panic. It is there so that when you're reading this without vowels someday, you can recognize the difference between ayat and ayat. Ayat has a silent yod there. Okay? Those are only there, they're not pronounced. They're only there, that silent yod is there, so that when you're reading this without vowels, which you'll be able to do one day, you'll be able to know that this is ayat. Okay? If you want to say he, you say au. And if you want to say she, you say I. If you want to say we, you say akhni. If you want to say you plural, you say akhtun. And if you want to say they, you say ani. Now there are villages that will say, you'll hear a little bit of different vowel inflection as this goes into different villages. And sometimes, again, the village of Batnaya will say akhnehen for they. They'll kind of really like push that. That's perfectly fine. All that's valid. Now I want to say two things. One, you may be wondering, you may have heard your grandparents or somebody, instead of saying au, they'll make the sound awa to say he. That's perfectly fine, but there's a little bit of a difference. And I want to explain what that difference is. When you say he went to the store, you're going to say au, and then you're going to say went to zilla, whatever. You're going to say, give the verb after that. Au means he. Awa means that man. Very, very slight difference. In fact, it kind of means the same thing. He went to the store, that man went to the store, really means the same thing. But, on the other hand, there is a difference even in English between he and that man. Even though they sort of point to, their intention is to point to the same external object, the sort of internal intention, the way you're saying it is a little bit different. When you say that, it's sort of like you're pointing. And that is opposed to this. So when you say awa, you're talking about something a little bit far from you. As opposed to something nearby, you say avi. You see that? Whereas when you're saying he went, au, it's not about close or far. It's just talking about he is doing it. Okay. So that's one thing. And then same thing, you'll say for she, it's ai, but you'll also hear people say aya. Same idea. Aya means that woman. And then ani, you'll hear ane. Again, that's those people. Slight difference. Can you use them interchangeably most of the time? Yes. But just understand that there's a little bit of a different kind of nuance to each one. What?
When you said Bethi, like my house,
yeah.
Is it also wrong to say Betha de?
No, that's perfectly fine. We'll get to that. We'll get to alternate ways to say things. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. No, but that's perfectly fine. Yep. Now let's talk about the subject of the verb business. What is? You guys know any grammar? Do you guys have to learn it in school? You know, when I learned English grammar, I learned English grammar in the seminary when I took Latin. That's the first time I ever actually understood how sentences work. Because I don't know, for whatever reason, they don't really stress subject, verb, object, like grammatical structure when I was in school. Maybe it's different now, maybe they brought it back. So when we say the subject of a verb and the object of a verb, it's very important for you to know what that means when you're speaking in Chaldean, because it's going to affect the way that you say things. What is the subject of a verb? Whatever is doing what the verb is doing. That's the subject. So if you say, let's take I don't know why we always have to use a violent example, but one of the most perfect regular verbs of almost any Aramaic dialect is to kill. So I always think killing. So gora, qtalla, melka. Okay, I'm going to write this down. I want to just, don't worry about the verb part. I want you to understand what the subject and object are. Bless you. So we say, gora, qtl, le. I'm going to say melka, and you'll see why I'm just going to say it this way in a second. Man, he killed king. All right? Now, in English, word order will tell us what the subject of the verb is. In English, most of the time, you're going to put the subject before the verb. The man killed the king. Most of the time in spoken English. The word order is going to tell us which is the subject, which one is the object. But in most Semitic languages, the word order doesn't matter. So if you want to say, the man killed the king, you could put man first, or you could put man last. That means right now you don't know in this sentence whether the man killed the king or the king killed the man. You don't know which one is the subject and which one is the object. That's a problem. So one of the ways that Chaldean solves this problem is you put a lamad before the object. So Gora qtal al-malka. And now it's very clear you're saying which one is the subject and which one is the object. Okay? What does that have to do with these pronouns? Because when you say ana, this can only be used as the subject of a verb. You will never say, so you'll say ana qtalli. Let's say now you want to kill the king. You're in a rebellious spirit. You're living during the French Revolution, whatever, I don't know. You want to kill the king, so you'll say ana qtalli malka. But if the king is trying to kill you because of your failed assassination attempt, you will never say malka qtal ana. You absolutely would not say that if you know what you're saying. But ana is not the object of the verb, it's only the subject. You would say malka qtal tali or something like that. Yeah, that's a whole other construction. We're going to get to that way later. But you would never use this as the object of the verb, only as the subject. Okay? If you don't understand this, don't worry. It'll make sense as you work through it. But I just wanted to say these pronouns that we just learned, they're subjective. They're not object. Good? All right. If it's a little confusing, that's fine. Sleep on it. Think about it tomorrow. Then maybe by like Thursday, you'll get it. Okay. If you want to say, let's do some verbs. If you want to say I am, it also works just like it does in English. You add a version of the verb to be. But just like in English, the verb changes. Oh, this is going to blow your mind. Depending on the pronoun it's next to. You say I am, but the verb am changes when you say he is. The same kind of thing happens in Chaldean. You probably didn't notice this until somebody pointed it out to you. Because we grow up, most of us speaking English. You say I am, you am, right? No, you say you are. Uh-oh. He is. She is. So this is annoying. Not only is the pronoun changing, the verb is changing too, even though it means exactly the same thing. We are, okay. We are, you are, they are. So are is used for all the plurals. That's great. But here they're changing. That's annoying. You wish it was just the same form if you're learning English. You're going to wish the same thing when you're learning Chaldean. But it's not. Get over it. Okay. So just learn some more words. So if you want to say I am, you can say two different things. You can say Ewin. Everyone say Ewin. If you're a little boy or a grown man. And you can say Ewan if you're female. Or you can actually combine, on the next page you'll see it, you can combine the pronoun and the verb. You can say Ana Ewin. Say it. Ana Ewin. Or Ana Ewan. You can do either one. What's the difference? I don't know. Maybe you're stressing it a little more when you say Ana Ewan. Ana Ewan. You're insisting that it's you. I just broke this thing. Insisting that it's you. I was the one that whatever. I don't know. But Ewan means exactly the same thing. Why does it mean the same thing? Because nothing else uses that verb other than the first person. I am. So let's work through the chart. On page 52 on the right, bottom. Everyone say Ewin. Ewan. Ewit. Ewat. There's your silent yod again. Everyone say Ile. Ila. She is. Ewuch. Or perfectly fine to say Ewuch. Ewuch. One is Ewuch. That's mostly Tel Kepe, we'll say that. A couple of the other villages. And then around Alkish, you're going to hear Ewuch with a I instead of a U. Perfectly fine either way. You plural R is either Iwotun, everyone say Iwotun, or just Wotun. Both are perfectly fine. And then they are is Ile. Good? Combined with the pronouns. By the way, this is something to absolutely memorize until it is like part of your DNA. That's how much you should memorize this, so that it's second nature for you to do it. Okay. Everyone say, Ana Iwin. Ana Iwan. Ayat Iwit. Ayat Iwat. Au Ile. Ai Ila. Achni Iwuch. Achtun Wotun. You want it to be Iwotun. You can say Iwotun if you want to, if you're OCD and you want all of them to start with the E sound, that's fine. I'm a little OCD too. And then last is Ani Ile. Again, there's other ways to do this, and there's other things you can do, but we'll get to that in the blue book. Okay? For example, I just want to whet your appetite a little. You can perfectly validly say Enile. So you can make a contraction. Just like you are can be your with an apostrophe. You can do that with Anewin. Anewin. You can contract that. We're not going to do that right now, but just so you know what's coming in the future. Just to entice you a little bit, like a little teaser trailer. Okay, finally, this is a really, really useful thing. Just like in English, this tense of the to be verb can be combined with the infinitive, I'm going to explain what that is in a second, of another verb. For example, the infinitive of the verb to walk is, everyone say, berchasha. So let's think about this in English for a second. You can take in English, I am, you are, he is, and then you can put in a form of the infinitive in English. What's the infinitive? The infinitive, what the infinitive means, yeah, good. The infinitive is when you're just naming an action, not referring to past tense, future tense. You're just naming, what is that guy doing? Walking. What do you feel, what do you want to do? What do you like? What do you like to do? I like to walk. So the infinitive in English has two forms. To walk, and then it could just be walking. Now this is also a participle, so don't worry about that right now. We're going to treat it as an infinitive. So what can you do in English? You can say, I am walking. You are walking. He is walking. So you can take the infinitive and combine it with the to be verb. You know why this is useful? Because if you're learning a language brand new and all you know is these pronouns and the to be verb, you can stick any verb in here and you're able to talk. You don't have to learn. You can use this before you learn the past, present, or future tense of the verb itself. So this is really, really powerful. You can do a lot with this. So you can take, everyone say, Iwin, Berchasha. So the infinitive here is to rachesh, is he walks. Rchasha, everyone say rchasha, means walking. Berchasha means I am in walking. I am in the act of walking. Okay? What is it?
Son of walking.
No, that's bird. Rchasha, nice try. So everyone, but that form doesn't change. If you know Iwin, Iwan, Iwit, it's always Berchasha. Everyone say Iwin, Berchasha. Iwan, Berchasha. Iwit, Berchasha. Iwet, Berchasha. Iwuch. Oh wait, I have to go to the next page. Everyone go say Ile, Berchasha. Ila, Berchasha. Then you go back. Iwuch, Berchasha. Wotun, Berchasha. Ile, Berchasha. And you can take any verb in the language and put a b in front of it and take the infinitive and combine it with these I am, you are, and you can say it. And it's a very, very common way to speak. Very, very useful, this thing. Okay. So, and in fact, I think I give you some verbs in this chapter, don't I? No, you don't. You can't. You're not allowed to have verbs yet. But whatever you want. You can be killing, you can be sleeping. Iwan bidmacha, Iwan baqtala, Iwan ilapa, Iwan bikhala, I am eating. You can do it with any verb, and it works great. Okay? Next is the Our Father. You guys all know this from your first communion class, man. Come on. I don't want to waste your time with this. But let's take a look let's see if we can recognize stuff. Baban. You see, everyone say baban. Look at that nun at the end of baban. You know that. That means our. Wow, you're learning the language. D'ile. Our Father. De means here in this case who. Ile, he is. You just learned that. Look at you understanding what you're saying. Be, shmeya. Be means in. You know that. Shmeya means heaven. Payish, you don't know yet. Mqudsha, you don't know yet. Shemuch, you know the uch at the end of Shema. Shemuch. Athia, you don't know yet. Melkuthuch, you know the uch ending. Hawe, you don't know. Ejbonuch, you know. Dich, I think you know the word dich, as. D'ile, as it is. You know d'ile. Bishmeya, in heaven. And so on. This is a really, really useful pedagogical tool. If there's something that you already know, a text that you already know in English, read it in Chaldean and like make the connections. Oh, that's this, that's this, that's this. It makes your brain kind of wired to understand the language. Spend some time doing that. Same thing with the Hail Mary. And there's stuff that you're not going to know, and that's okay. You'll learn it when you learn it. And the Glory Be, there's a little prayer before the meals. Let's look at page 56, some more vocab. Directional words. Starting in the middle, if you want to go forward, if you want to go to the front, everyone say qama. And if you want to go to the front, you say iqama. If you want to go up, you say al-el. And if you want to go above, al-el min. If you want to go back, the back is bathra. That's the back. If you want to go backward, you say al-bathra. Down is al-teikh. Okay, to the down. And then if you want to go under, everyone say khothid. Okay, those words are actually related, but it's kind of complicated how they're related, so I don't want to spend time doing that. If you want to go right, you go yamne. If you want to go to the right, you go liyamne. And then left, there's actually two words for it. One is asre, left, and then to the left is al-asre. And then some villages will say chappe. Everyone say chappe. Let me write it for you if you want to write it in your book. Chappe. Chappe. Okay? And then al-chappe would be to the left.
What was the word in above again?
Qama and al-qama. So the silent daleth is just there for fun. Okay. L min, above, from. Okay, calendar words. Everyone say timmal. Yesterday. There are some villages, I think Aradhan uses timmal for tomorrow, which is really confusing, but it is what it is. You accept it. Today is idyu or idiom. Idiom is perfectly fine to say. Tomorrow, in vernacular Chaldean, tomorrow is sapra. But in the older dialects of Aramaic, sapra means morning. Just so you guys can get a headache. That's why Slothat sapra means morning prayer. It doesn't mean tomorrow prayer. It means morning prayer. Day is yoma. Night is lele. A week is sheptha. You'll see in a second that also means Saturday. Don't worry about that right now. A month is yarcha. A season is shawa'a. That could be either a liturgical season like Epiphany, but it could also be the season of fall or spring. Okay, and then a year is shata. Okay, you could say the word a generation is a dara, but it's not a very common word. Okay, days of the week. This is fun. Listen to this. Everyone say Cho Shaba. Again, ignore that daleth. But if you want to look at it, Had Ibshabba means the first of the week. So Sunday is the first day of the week. Everyone say Tur Shaba. Or Tur Shaba, some villages. Tur Shaba means second of the week. Everyone say Tlathu Shaba. Third of the week or Tuesday. Arbu Shaba. You see how the beth with the dot under it is being used as a vowel here? Okay. Arbu Shaba, Wednesday, fourth of the week. Khamshu Shaba, the fifth in the week, or Thursday. Then Friday has its own name. Everyone say Uruta. And then Saturday is Sheptha. That means a week. But like Saturday is like, here's it's the end of the week. Okay? 7 sacraments to continue my propaganda. Baptism is, everyone say Ma'moditha. Right along with Ma'moditha, you receive Miron, confirmation. Then when you commit a sin, you go to Modianutha. Everyone say Modianutha. Confession. The typical word for the Eucharist is Qorbana. It means offering literally, but it's our word for the Eucharist. Then marriage is, the longer version is Barachtat Zuwaga. But really that means the blessing of a pairing. So if you want to just say Zuwaga, I actually think that's a perfectly good word for marriage. Zuwaga, pairing. Zoga is a pair, and Zuwaga is a pairing. Okay, you're pairing them up. Ordination is Siam Ida, literally the laying of hands, placing of hands. And then anointing of the sick is Mishha Dekrihe, anointing of the sick. Let's do some vocab and then we'll be done for the day. Starting on the right, this is actually a Greek word, but everyone say episkopa. Episkopos is a Greek word, but it means bishop, overseer, or bishop. Raza means mystery, but it's also our word for mass. Okay? The mysteries. Raze alahaye, the divine mysteries. Everyone say Bethad Qorbana. The tabernacle, the house of the Eucharist. Isn't that cute? Everyone say Medhabha, the altar. Everyone say Eta, church. Everyone say Slotha, prayer. Next page. Everyone say Juina is the choir. Wardiya, rosary. This is cute. What's the word for rose? Warda, rose, rosary. Warda, wardiya. Cute. Okay. Kabira means a lot. Everyone say Kabira. Much. Kahana is priest. You'll also see on the well, let's keep going. Kthawa Qadisha, the holy book or the Bible. Everyone say Sapra, means morning prayer, as well as tomorrow. That'll give you some heartburn. Qaroya is a reader. Everyone say Qaroya. Qasha means presbyter, but most priests are presbyters. A bishop is a kahana still. So what is the difference between a kahana and a qasha or qashisha? The word kahana is the one that is offering the sacrifice. The word qashisha, which is where qasha comes from, means the elder of the community, an elder. So, but they usually refer to the same people. Even a young priest is still a qasha, even though he's an elder, even though he's young. So in vernacular, they kind of mean the same thing.
Does qasha also mean like wise man?
Because he's old, qashisha just means an elder. So an old person.
What's kumra?
Kumra means a high priest, which is a bishop in Christian sort of theology. Everyone say Ramsha. Means evening or evening prayer. And then Shamasha really just means server, but we use it for deacon as well. So there's your homework. Translate those guys. And I think we're done. Questions or comments today? Okay.